pleasure of doing lashes on my mom, which I'm really excited about because A, she's a great example of what a little bit of, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here, her lashes are hard to lash. They are extremely blonde. So unfortunately, when we work with super blonde lashes, more often than not, we have challenges that come along with that. There's usually a lot of invisible little lashes that kind of fall into our isolated section, and that can make isolation really easy. Also, because we have those fine lashes, we really need a fine tipped tweezer in order to really maneuver around those lashes and isolate with ease. So I have a couple tools I'm going to be working with in order to deal with her very challenging lashes. I will show you her lashes up close pretty soon, but how I'm going to navigate through that is I'm going to work with Lost Artistry Lash Sunset Ultra Tweezer. This is my favorite isolation tweezer, especially when I'm working with challenging lashes, because it has a crazy fine point tip. If we had a thicker tipped tweezer, it would be so hard to really get those tips in between those lashes that are really close together or those that overlap one another. Same with if we had a curly lash client or just unruly lashes in general. You want to work with a very fine tip tweezer. But not only do you want to work with a fine tip tweezer, the curvature helps a lot too. So you can see it's very much like a sunset shape that really allows us to get in closer to that lash line with ease, and it helps our wrist and hand as well. So that is my tweezer choice for isolation today. Now, when it comes to eye pads, like I've said, her lashes are quite blonde. Not all of them are super blonde, but she does have, I would say, about 40% of her lashes are very light. So I'm going to work with our blackout eye pads. I don't often get a chance to work with these, only on very light lashed clients. I'm gonna put those on after I've gone through and got all of the very visible lashes. So firstly, I'm gonna work with our lint-free eye pads. So I'm working with these because they're white, and it's gonna help me get through those easier lashes first, and then those will be easier to move out of the way so that I can work with those really light, troublesome lashes with our blackout eye pads. Now, on the topic of tweezers, I do always have my tweezers properly disinfected before I start any service. It's really nice to have a couple pairs on hand so that you can always grab for another pair without having to go through the whole cleansing regime in between clients. Otherwise, you're gonna have to book a good 20 minutes between every single client. And then you also risk dropping a tweezer or something and being completely shafted when your tweezer gets broken. So having extra on hand is definitely important for many reasons. But although I've already cleaned both of my tweezers, because they've been sitting out in the open for just a while, even though they are disinfected, I still like to come in with my glue gun right before my service. This just makes sure that there's no debris, no dirt, nothing left on the tweezers that could cause cross-contamination or irritation to my client's eyes. So we want to be as clean as possible. So how I do that, I just open up my glue gun, and they have these little balls inside that you take the tips of your tweezers. And the nice thing about having these they're like little squishy balls, which is hilarious to say. But anyways, you put the tips of your tweezers in and you kind of move it around in that ball. Now, when you do that, you're not risking hitting the tips of your tweezers against the bottom of the bottle. And those tips are really fine, especially when you're working with a fine tip tweezer for isolation. So that's the nice thing about these balls as well. Not to mention that because of the texture of them, if there's any glue stuck to the tip of your isolation tweezer, which can definitely affect how you're isolating or how you're lifting and placing a lash, but because of the texture of the balls, it's going to actually get all of that off, almost like they're being cleaned with an SOS pad or something. So you do that before, make sure that they're good to go with both tweezers. And I am working with our Sweet Spot Gripopotamus tweezer today. I'm gonna be working with a mix of 0.07 diameter volume lashes, obviously Lost Artistry Lash, from lengths 5 to 7. I chose a mixed tray for that, and that's gonna be in C curl. Fun fact, when you work with 5, 6, and 7 millimeters, say a B curl, a C curl, or a D curl, they can all blend together really well. Because they're so tiny, the curl isn't super different between all of them, so they blend really well. So anyways, I'm working with C curl for 5, 6, and 7, and then I'm working with a mix of Camellia Easy Fans. So I'm gonna be working with 3 different lengths in camellias just to show that they can all be mixed and matched together. There's really no rhyme or rhythm to which product you can use with which product. They can all come together to create a lovely result. So I'm working with Camellia Easy fans from length 9 to 11, so that's gonna blend all together. But get this about camellias. So camellia, on each tray, you'll see that it says, for example, 7, 8, and 9. So we often talk about feathering techniques in our videos. And what feathering means is we want to create more of a dark, fluffy, dense result by mixing multiple lengths together. So usually how we create this is by placing one fan that's, say, 7 millimeters next to one that's 9 millimeters and so on, and we're really staggering lengths throughout. But you don't have to put any thought into that when you work with camellia fans, because we've already done that for you. So all of your fans that you're creating will have some 7s, some 8s, and some 9s, so you feather without having to really put thought into the styling side of that. And those are gonna be in C curl as well. So those are gonna be C curl. I'm gonna mix 0.05 and 0.07 together because my mom has really weak natural lashes. So I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm only gonna be working with, depending on the lash I'm actually working on, say anywhere from 2 to 4, 5D. 5D is gonna be pushing it. So maybe I won't end up using 5D, or maybe I will if she has some really strong lashes. Now, she doesn't have a crazy amount of lashes. So instead of working with a lot of narrow fans, I'm gonna work with a lot more open fans, but she's particular. So she likes texture, but she also likes fluffiness. So although I need those wider fans for more coverage to give her a more all over volume look, I still want to add some pieces in there for texture. Now we're gonna get that a little bit from feathering, but instead of using my classic lashes, I am going to use the same products that I'm using for the rest of the set, but I'm gonna use closed fans. So I'm gonna make little itty bitty spikes, maybe still only up to 5D, probably more like 3D, and I'm gonna mix those throughout as well. And that'll just give me a little more of a textured, but still fluffy and covered effect. Now, she also was very specific. She said she wants more of an eyeliner type look. And she loves L and M curl, which is pretty unique. So I am super excited to bring it to life. So we're gonna be working with less curl, AKA that C curl in those shorter lengths throughout the inner to the middle of the eye. Here's my map. And then on the outer corner, we're gonna flick and disconnect those lengths a little bit. I'll show you that along the way, and you can see it in the map as well. By all means, screenshot it and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. But we're gonna be working with L curl. I'm not gonna scare her away with M curl because I think that she thinks she'd want M curl, but we're gonna ease her into the whole L/M curl situation. And L is honestly more of an everyday wear curl. So see if she loves it, and then we'll move her up to M curl. I'm obsessed with M curl. It's one of my favorites, and I think it would look beautiful, but she hasn't had lashes in years. She actually doesn't live here in Victoria. She lives in Newfoundland. That's where I'm from. So she hasn't had lashes in years. So I want to kind of ease her into it and see what she thinks instead of scaring her away. Mom usually wears eyeliner and mascara, and although she did give her lashes a good cleanse, she didn't have a fine bristled brush. So there's a little bit of mascara or eyeliner stuck in just the base of her lashes, and if I were to leave that, then unfortunately my bond would not be as secure as I would like it to be, and retention would be probably pretty meh. Reason being is because if we're attaching extensions to debris, makeup, oils, anything like that, then those lashes are going to fall off as soon as that makeup or debris breaks down, which it inevitably will. So I'm using our Lost Artistry Lash Fine Bristle Brush. It allows me to get all the way around that base and give a really good cleanse and get those lashes ready for adhesion. So I got my Lash Bath today, and I'm gonna show you how I do that. So take a face cloth, tilt your client's head to the side, put a little pump on, and because she doesn't have lashes, I'm gonna be a little more, I don't wanna say aggressive, but I'm not gonna be afraid to kind of go in all different directions just to make sure I'm really getting that base cleaned. Now, if I was doing this with lash extensions, I would be a lot more gentle so I wasn't tugging on that follicle. And I'm just lifting her lid just slightly so I can really get in there. And don't worry, Lash Bath and Scentsy Bath are very, very gentle products, so it's not gonna hurt the eyes. We got almost all of it, but I am gonna go in with another, and then I'm gonna do a double cleanse just to make sure. If you haven't cleansed your client's lashes before a service, you gotta try it. It's so good. And then afterwards, you're gonna be like, wow, retention's better than ever. And the services, it's like you fly through services because everything just works so well. The lashes act magnetic with the glue and with the natural lash. How do your eyes feel, Mom?
Good.
All right, looks like the base is clean on that one. So now what I'm gonna do, start on the inner corner. I am using my Nano Mister bottle, and I'm going to make sure that there's warm water in there, which there is. Start on the inner corner and move along the lash line. Give a really good cleanse. So I like to have many face cloths on hand. Again, I don't like to have to wash them in between every client. Just buy a pack of say 12 or something. And then at the end of the day, you can just throw in a load and have them all ready for the next day. We would also have bad retention if we left any of that cleanser on the lash line because again, our lashes would get stuck to that instead of the natural lashes. So I'm just gonna give a double rinse, and then we're gonna move to the other side. And I like that our cleansers are also a foam because I've previously worked with cleansers that are really thick, almost like gelatin, and they're really hard to get off of the lashes, which can definitely affect that retention as well. And it isn't as gentle. Now, when you're cleansing, you also want to take the opportunity to cleanse below the eye and all the way up to the eyebrow. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want the eye pads to stick really well, especially when you have clients who are challenging. You want those eye pads to stay in one place. And if, say, we still had oils underneath the eye, then the eye pads wouldn't stay. They would move around while we were lashing. Same with above the eye, because she does, again, have a little bit of challenges when it comes to isolation. I'm gonna say we're gonna need to use either tape or pads above the eyes in order to give a good isolation. And now, moisture cures adhesive. So we don't wanna start with moisture on the lashes, so I'm gonna take my bladeless fan. I like to put it on the highest setting, and I'm just gonna dry the lashes. And now's a great time to get your glue ready. So I always store my glues in our Lost Artistry glue home, but you have to have either silica packs or rice in there to keep the humidity and temperature and environment perfect for your glues. I'm gonna give Quickie a try for Mom's lashes first, and if I find that her lashes are really challenging, I might move down to either bondage or sensitize or Invisibond, depending on what I'm feeling. But because this is a 1 second cure time, if there's a lot of challenges that present themselves, then the 1 second cure time may not give me enough room to maybe direct or fiddle around with isolation or anything. So I am gonna start with that, but I may switch it during the service. So it is important to have many glues on hand for that exact reason. Sometimes we're slow, sometimes we're fast, and we just need to be prepared. Saves us a lot of stress while we're working and saves our client from having poor retention or really long lash appointments. But I need to get my glue ready. So I'm gonna use the Lost Artistry Glue Braidor. And this is not a new glue. If it was, I would shake it for longer, but because I've used it a couple times already, I'm gonna shake for 10 seconds in the Glue Braidor. So you don't wanna shake it for any more than say 30 seconds your first time opening it. You wouldn't wanna shake it for say a minute, 2 minutes, like you would by hand up to 5 minutes. But in your Glue Braidor, you really don't need any longer. You don't wanna risk getting air bubbles in your glue. So now, when I'm taking my glue out, instead of breaking this little plastic piece, because this is just plastic, and if you're moving it back and forth, plastic will eventually snap, right? So instead of that, I take the whole rubber compartment off, and then you can easily take your glue out. That will keep your Glue Braidor for much longer. And I'm working with our glue ring. So I'm just gonna take one dot, I'm gonna take a glue wipe, and just burp the glue. And when I'm burping, I keep pressure on that glue, because if I let go of my pressure, then I'm gonna suck air into the tip of the nozzle and clog my nozzle. If that does happen, it's annoying for sure, but you can take an old pair of tweezers and just pop it in there. Not ideal, but it does work. And then instead of storing my glue on my station, put it right back in its home. So I've already set up for my service, meaning have my tiles ready. Because I'm working with a mix of easy fans and handmaids, I'm gonna do a couple different techniques. I like to play around with different techniques for pretty much every lash set that I do. I'm gonna be working with some handmade fanning off the strip, but I'm also gonna work with sticky dot fanning. So I do have my sticky dot on my station ready to go. So I'm also working with Foreplay. This is a product, it's a very unique product. So what you do is take a tiny micro swab applicator, dip it in. You don't need a lot of product, just a little bit. Less is more with pretty much every lash product that you'll use. So the cool thing about Foreplay is it has many different functions. So I put it along the lash strip, and it's gonna help regulate the humidity in my room because my humidity is a little bit weird today. I usually don't have humidity problems in here, and I've kind of gotten used to that, but our weather's been really strange. So today I do have my machine up and running, my air conditioning is going, but it's gonna take a little bit of time, and my mom's my first client today, so it takes a little bit of time. So this will help regulate that humidity within our room to still get that magnetic, that perfect bond, and have our glues working at its best. But it also helps with fanning. So it'll help really release the fans from the strip, or in the case of doing closed fans or wet lashes, if you put it along the tips as well, it will also help keep those tips together. So it's multi-purpose. And one dip will get your entire tile. You don't need a lot. And you can also reapply halfway through the service if you find that there's still issues. And I am working with a glue ring. So to protect myself and my mom's eyes, I'm gonna open up our Freshy product. Freshy sucks the glue fumes away from the eye and into this bottle. So it helps me because I don't have to breathe in as many glue fumes, but it also helps the client because, especially if we work from a glue ring or just in general, keeping those fumes to a minimum to help prevent irritation to the eyes. So next, we want to really plan out our set. Although I have a rough idea of what I'm gonna do, I wanna put markings on the eye because quite honestly, the eyes look very different when they're closed than when they're open. And if we're seeing their eyes with them closed and we're mapping out that way, then when they open their eyes, which is how they're gonna see their lashes all the time, it could look very different. So if we wanna take our styling to the next level, this is how we do it. Also, it's important to be realistic with your clients. So I'm noticing when up close looking at mom's lashes, look straight ahead please, that she has quite a few little gaps throughout her lashes. So that may not look as full as we would like it to, but I just wanna be totally honest with her about that. So the 2 dots that I've put on her eye already are the flatter part of the eye. So from there, her eye starts to just gently tilt down. And because she wants a cat eye effect, we want to lift that up. So that's where I'm really going to start increasing my lengths. It's important to note, especially for cat eye, where the eye sits its highest and its lowest, so you can adjust your lengths and curls accordingly. So I wouldn't say she has a crazy amount of space between her inner corner and her eyebrow, especially on this side of space between there. But she wants a really subtle eyeliner look with just a pop on the ends. So I am gonna stick with shorter lengths. Like I said, I'm gonna go 5, 6, 7, and 8 in that middle area because it's already so lifted, and then quickly transitioning into L curl from that point forward. And I'm gonna go 8 and mix 8C with some 8L in that area, and then quickly into 9L, 10L, and I think I might do just a flick of 12 on those outer corners just to give that accentuated cat eye look. So sometimes we have to ask our clients to move a little bit closer to us because we really need to see everything that's going on our lash set. If we can't see where that lash grows from the skin and the end of the lash, then we're gonna have to move ourselves around. Maybe we have to move to the side, the other side, maybe we have to move our client's head from side to side, or maybe we just have to move our bed up or down. Anyhow, you can see that I have a lot of space for working here. The reason why I have so much space is because I'm working with our Lost Artistry Lash Memory Foam Pillow. Very sturdy, gives us a nice space to work off of, but it's also really comfortable for the client. But sometimes you have to get them to move up. So that's what I just got her to do, and now I'm ready to put on my eye pads. For really super light lashed clients like mom, it's so important to have great lighting. Well, I shouldn't say just for clients like this because that's not accurate for all clients, but particularly for clients with really light lashes, because we need all the light that we can get in order to see exactly what we're doing. So I am working with our Lost Artistry LED light. And when you're applying your eye pads, you can either put the pads on with the eyes closed or open. I'm gonna do it with the eyes closed just because I prefer doing that, and I find that the clients find it more comfortable, but by all means you can have them look up and you can apply them that way as well. And we're applying just along the lash line. She's a little bit fluttery, so I think closed was definitely the best option. Now you can get a good look at her lashes too, her natural lashes. And once I feel like I'm having some troubles, and once I feel like I've gotten through all those lashes that I can really see, then I'll move to my black eye pads. And although we have cleansed, it's still equally as important to prime the lashes. So again, just grab one of those micro swab applicators, 2 actually. You're gonna dip just 1 in the primer, AKA Band-Aid. And then to make sure that the product doesn't get in your client's eyes, you're gonna use that other one and transfer some of that product onto the second micro swab. And if you still want to be super cautious and careful, take that one and just dot off any excess. You can do that on a glue wipe. I do have a cloth on the side of me right now, so I've chosen to use that, but a glue wipe works just fine. Now we're gonna start at the tips. Again, just being careful. The product does not feel very nice when it goes in your eyes, even though it smells delicious. Start at those tips along both eyes. And then you can work it through the rest of the lashes in the middle. And then with the remaining solution, that's when you get close to the base there, because there's no worry of getting it in the eyes at all. And then we're gonna take our fan again, give a quick dry. Now I'm gonna transfer that map. I'm kind of surprised that Mom will let me even go near her anymore. When I first went to hair school, I was a hairstylist first, and my first time ever coloring anyone's hair was obviously my mom's, and I got bleach in her eyes. Remember that?
Yeah, you flicked my hair into my eye.
I swear to God.
So much.
It was the worst. Everyone, it was like a learning lesson too, and every single person in the class, there was like 10 of us, was around my mom in the sink, and we were like flushing her with water.
Well, I can still see. So that's
She can see. Yeah, don't do it. Oh man, that was bad.